Good morning, everyone. Today we'll discuss some more problems on Hopkinson test. Okay, take this problem. Two identical DC shunt machines, when tested by Hopkinson's method, gave the following data. So line voltage is 230 volt and line current excluding both the field currents, that is 30 ampere. Motor armature current is 230 amps and field current is 5 ampere and 4 ampere. If the armature resistance of each machine including brushes, that is 0.025 ohm, calculate the efficiency of the both the machines. Okay, once again look at the problem. Two identical DC shunt machines. So write two identical DC shunt machines. One is motor and another one is generator. So by Hopkinson test method, line voltage is 230 volt. So voltage is 230 volt. Line current excluding both field current. So line current excluding both field current, that is given 30 ampere. Okay, so that's why the diagram is drawn like this, excluding field current we want. Okay, so that is 30 ampere, that is flowing, that is the line current. Then motor armature current is 230 ampere. So motor armature current is 230 amps. Okay, field current, one is 5 ampere, another one is 4 ampere. So this one is 5 ampere, that is given I3, and I4 is 4 ampere. Okay, and armature resistance is given, both the armature resistance is 0.025 ohm, that is RA. 0.025 ohm. This is RA. Area of motor and also area of generator. Calculate the efficiency of the both the machine. So neta M and neta G we need to calculate. Okay. So for that, so we have 30 amps, 230 amps. Okay, and find out the generator current. So 30, 230 is coming here. So this is 30 means, so this direction is in upward direction, generator direction is upward. Okay, so 200 is coming from generator, 30 is coming from the main supply. So total current resist 30 is coming like this. This is 230 means 230 minus 30 will get 200 amps, that is the generator. So total armature current of motor is 230. 30 is coming from the supply mains. So it means remaining 200 will comes from the generator. Okay, hence generator current I2 is 200 amps. So now calculate the armature copper loss for the generator side. So armature copper loss I square RA. So generator side, that is 200 square into 0.025 ohm, that is the RA. So you will get 1000 watt. Similarly, field copper loss, so 5 ampere is flowing here, multiplied by voltage across this, that is 230 volt. 230 into ISH, that is 11,050 watt. Similarly, calculate for motor armature copper loss IA square RA. Armature copper loss is, armature current is 230 into 0.025, 230 square into 0.025, this is 1322.5 watt. Similarly, field copper loss is V into ISH, voltage across this 230, and what is the current flowing, that is 4 ampere. Okay, 4 ampere. So how much? 230 into 4, 920 watt, right? All of you got these answers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then once you found the armature copper loss and field copper loss of generator as well as motor, right? Calculate total current, that is the line current, that is the total power. So power drawn from the supply. So that is the input. Power drawn from the supply, that is to be calculated voltage into I1. So voltage is 230. What is I1 is coming here. So that is 30, right? Excluding these two. Okay, 30 ampere is coming from the supply. So therefore 230 into 30, so this will give 6900 watt. So no load rotational losses for both the machines, that is given by power drawn from the supply, that is 6900, and armature copper loss of both the machine. Armature copper loss 920 and 1150. Sorry, 1000 and 1322.5. 1000 and 1322.5 only copper loss are taken. Okay, so and field losses are taken as constant losses here. Okay, and so ws is equal to 4578 watt. 4578 watt. So uh, for both the machines, so divide by 2. 4578 divided by 2. Each machines having a constant loss, ws stray loss of 2289 watt. Okay, now calculate for individually generator. Generator output is equal to V into I2. So V is 230 and I2 is the current flowing here, that is 200. So 200 we will get 46,000 watt. Similarly, total losses, that is field copper loss, armature copper loss, and this friction and windage loss, that is stray loss. Field copper loss of generator is 1150 and armature copper loss is 1000. 1150 and 1000 and ws by 2. Ws by 2 is 2289. Okay, so total losses of the generator is 4439 watt. So calculate efficiency for generator output by output plus losses. So output is 46,000 divided by output, again 46,000 plus losses 4439 into 100. Do it. Generator efficiency will get 91.19%. Are you following? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So similarly do it for motor. Similarly do it for motor. Do it for motor. What is the motor input? V into IA plus ISH. IA is 230 plus ISH is voltage is voltage is 230 and IA is 230 and field current is ISH is 4 ampere, right? So total is 53,820. So therefore total losses is equal to field copper loss is 920 for motor, 920, and armature copper loss is 1322, 1322, 920, and stray losses is 2289. 2289. This is common for both machines. So total is 4531 watt. So motor efficiency, not generator. Motor efficiency is equal to input minus losses by input into 100. So input is 53,820 minus losses is 4531 divided by 53,820. While doing for motor, you have to take an input minus losses by input. While doing for generator, you have to take an output by output plus losses. Both are same. Output plus losses is also called as input. Input minus losses is also called as output. Okay, we will get 91.58. So almost both machine having identical, and we got 91%. Okay, efficiencies are equal here, right? So if efficiencies are equal, we can find out the, in case both are assumed to have a same efficiency, okay, neta m and neta g, so we can cross check through another formula directly without doing all these things. We can also cross check square root of I2 by I1 plus I2. I2 is 200, I1 is 200 plus 30. I1 is 30, I2 is 200. Okay, so this is 0.932. It means 93%. So almost nearly equal to 91%. Okay, so this is also 91, this is 91. So nearly, if you do like this by using this formula, so almost nearer value you will get. Is it clear? Any doubt regarding this problem?
No, sir.
All of you got the answer?
Yes, sir.
What about others? Bharat, Sachin Kumar, Vidya, got the answer?
Yes, sir.
Leelavati, Shantamma, all of you got the answer? So shall we move to the next topic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next one is the retardation test.
Please join. So I'll start the session now. I hope
So next one is retardation test or running down test.
Sir. Yes, sir.
What?
Um,
What happened? Okay. Retardation or running down. So generally, what is the meaning of retardation? Anybody? What is retardation? Hmm? Don't know. Srishti, what is retardation?
Don't know.
Don't know. You're not studied in physics. Retardation. Momina Kausar,
Yes, sir.
what is retardation?
Negative acceleration.
Yes, negative acceleration is called as a retardation. Okay, so a retardation test, it is also called as running down test. Okay, this method is generally employed for shunt generator and shunt motors. Okay, so from this method we can get the stray losses. Stray losses means constant losses. So thus, if armature shunt copper losses at any given load current are known, then efficiency of the machine can be easily estimated. So from this test, stray losses can be obtained. So after this, so like indirect method. So indirect method means so when you have done in the Simmons test, like okay, that is copper losses are going to be find out by using full load current of the machine. So like that, the load current that can be obtained from the nameplate details. Okay, so therefore that current multiplied by the shunt copper losses that can be any given instant that can be calculated. Okay, and finally efficiency get be calculated. So for this retardation test circuit diagram is shown here. So this is the motor. Okay, and DC supply is given for the field winding as well as armature. Okay, there is a starting resistance. There is the resistance for it is like a starter. Okay, and there is a arrangement. There is a two pole switch that is used here. Okay, so here uh, initially, and the voltmeter it is connected parallel to the armature circuit, and there is a load is connected, a load resistance, that is RL, that is connected here to the ammeter. And what happened, there is a two switches there here. Okay, so either you can put switch towards supply or towards the load. Okay, so you will operate this switch first time to supply, then it is after the next time connected to the load. Okay, so for that arrangement that is taken here. So what we will do means, so initially the motor will be running at rated speed or slightly more than the rated speed. So that is 1500 rpm is your rated speed. So from 10% increase that. So 1550 rpm up to 1550 rpm, slightly more than the rated speed, run the motor. So after exciting the supply of the field, immediately you switch off the DC supply. Immediately you switch off the DC supply, and immediately you close the switch towards the load. Okay, so you are close the switch towards the load. This is the two-way switch. Either you can connect towards DC supply or you can connect to the load side. Okay, there is a two operation of this switch. So suddenly you take uh, after running at the rated speed, more than rated speed, you change the switch from DC supply to the load side and note down the time. So the, because if you are remove the main supply, automatically motor will get stop. Okay, so it will comes to the low speed and it will finally it will get stop. Okay, for that how much period it will take to stop. Okay, you count down the time, and also you have connected to the load. Whenever you are connected to the load here, so speed will be also decreasing, and also note down how much current that can be shown in the ammeter. Whenever you remove the supply, and whatever the losses in the machine, okay, that can be observed by this test. Okay, so when you apply a small load across this, so for how much current is flowing into the load, so that gives the retardation test values, that is called as some stray losses. So is it clear for you people? So retardation test means it is a negative acceleration test. The circuit is like this. A DC shunt motor is connected across the DC supply through a two-pole switch. Okay, and a separate excitation is given for the shunt field winding. And in another circuit, we have a resistance load that is connected in series with the ammeter. Okay, and two-pole switch, either you can connect towards the DC supply or connected towards the load. So this arrangement is to be done for this retardation test. Is it clear? Hello, Srishti.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the connection diagram of retardation test is shown in figure. The machine whose test is to be taken is run at speed which is slightly above the normal speed. Okay, the same thing I have explained. To go through the in the theory part, explanation part, the supply to the motor is cut off. Okay, the supply, DC supply is cut off through the switch while the field is kept excited. So field is, when field is excited, immediately it open this. Okay, once you take the no load reading and open this, so what happens, the armature consequently slow down. The armature speed is going to be slow down. Whatever 1500 rpm is there, it is goes on decreasing and it will come to 0 rpm. Okay, so we need to find out how much time it will take from 1500 rpm to 0 rpm. Okay, that is to be calculated. So by using one stopwatch, okay, you take stopwatch and count down the time how much seconds it will taken from 1500 to 0 rpm. Okay, while open the switch at the moment of opening of the switch. Okay, opening of the switch and closing of the switch towards the load side. Okay, so that the supply to the motor is cut off when field kept is excited, the armature consequently slow down and its kinetic energy is used to supplying the rotational or stray losses. Okay, so whatever the kinetic energy is in the motor that is there, so that can be used to rotational and stray losses. So that will give the your stray losses, which includes iron, friction and windage losses. Stray losses means iron loss, friction loss and windage losses. If I is the moment of inertia that is to be calculated here, I is the moment of inertia because kinetic energy of the armature is equal to half into I into omega square. So I is the moment of inertia of the armature and omega is the angular velocity. So for that purpose we need to calculate moment of inertia as well as angular velocity. Okay, so for that purpose so rotational losses can be obtained. W, this is not omega, this is W. Okay, here this is omega, so this is W is given by rate of change of kinetic energy. The rate of change of kinetic energy, this will gives the W. So that is given by rate of change of kinetic energy means d by dt of half I into omega square. Okay, so this will gives, so I into omega into dw by dt. Okay, so therefore angular velocity omega, take omega is equal to, that is 2 pi n by 60. This is general formula. Omega is 2 pi n by 60. So substitute here in the place of omega. So therefore W is equal to I into, I is as it is, in the place of omega, I into omega into dw by dt. Omega put 2 pi n by 60. Okay, into d by dt, d by dt of omega. So this is omega. So what is omega? 2 pi n by 60. Okay, substitute the values to this equation, right? I we have written I is equal to I. Omega is 2 pi n by 60 d by dt of omega. d by dt of omega is again 2 pi n by 60. Okay. So now I is it that is equal to I into 2 pi n by 60. So take 2 pi by 60 outside. So we can write it as dn by dt. So dn by dt, right, like this. Okay. So 2 pi by 60, 2 pi by 60, multiply this 2 pi by 60 square. Okay. And remaining term is n. So I is there. So write I and this n and dn by dt. So w is equal to 2 pi by 60 square into I into n into dn by dt. Okay. So to find the rotational losses, so this is w is the rotational losses. So the what are the requirement are there? Moment of inertia should be known, I, and dn by dt should be known. Dn by dt, it should be known. The change in speed. Dn by dt means if you know the n, then you can find out dn by dt. Okay. So these are the quantities are to be required for the rotational losses. That is, one is moment of inertia and another one is dn by dt. Right. So how to find out dn by dt? Okay, determination of dn by dt. Okay, so go to the circuit. The voltmeter V is connected across the armature. Voltmeter is connected across the armature. To find out the dn by dt, so this is the demonstration. To connect voltmeter across the armature, will read the back EMF of the motor, right? And back EMF is also directly proportional to speed. Okay, so speed, you can also note down speed, or otherwise the voltmeter reading also directly proportional to speed. Okay, so find out the voltmeter reading. So while speed is reducing, voltage across the motor is also going to be reducing. So therefore the voltmeter is used as a speed indicator. Okay, so both are directly proportional, hence voltmeter it is used as a speed indicator by suitably graduated it. So when supply is cut off, so switch off the supply. Okay, after that, so what happens? Cut off, the armature speed and hence voltmeter reading both will fall. So armature speed, this is the speed, and also voltmeter reading both will fall. Both will fall, right? With respect to the time, both will fall. So by note down the different amounts of voltage. Suppose initially it is 220 volt. So after it will decreases to 100 volt. So finally it is decreased to 50 volt. So finally it will comes to 0 volt. Okay. So note down the readings of the voltage. So voltage is decreasing. Similarly, speed is also decreasing. Okay. So draw a curve for a different reading. You draw a curve. You will get the curve like this with respect to time for total seconds. So how many seconds? Suppose 5 seconds. So 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, 5 second. So for 5 in the 5 seconds the voltage is fall down. Okay. So like that, with respect to time, voltage or speed, whatever it may be, either you can put the voltage or speed. So both are directly proportional here. So we have used the voltmeter, hence you can put the voltmeter. Okay, and corresponding voltage, suppose 220 we have 1500 rpm is there. So also you can calculate for what is the 100 and what is for 50 and what is for 0. Okay, so speed is also you will obtain. Okay, now a curve is drawn between the time and speed. Okay, so time and speed, draw the curve that is shown in the figure 2. So from any point at C, so at any point at C, you take this is point C, this is point A, and this is point B. Draw the tangent. Draw the tangent to the curve. You will get a point C. Okay, so which is corresponds to the normal speed. A tangent AB is drawn. Then dn by dt that can be obtained. The change in speed with respect to time that is given by taking the slope OA by OB. OA line here to here and OB line here to here. So OA it is in RPM, speed is in RPM and time in seconds. OB in second. So the value obtained from the above can be substituted in the W expression. So this is the W expression. So we got dn by dt, right? So dn by dt that is OA value by OB value. So which will give the rotational losses. Is it clear? I think. Is it clear how to determine the change in speed with respect to time? So and remaining term is moment of inertia we need to find out. So retardation test. So kinetic energy in the motor. So that is to be calculated. Energy in the armature half into I into omega square. So then find out the rotational losses, rate of change of kinetic energy, and you will get the expression. In that expression, I and dn by dt are unknown. So find out I value and dn by dt. That is I is the moment of inertia, not current here. I is taken as moment of inertia. Okay, and dn by dt is change in speed. Okay, change in speed is calculated now. And to find out the moment of inertia, again two methods are there. Determination of moment of inertia, first method using flywheel, okay, and second method without using flywheel. Okay, so there are two methods are there to find out the moment of inertia. Okay, what is flywheel? The motor shaft is connected to some wheel that is called as flywheel, so that is used to find out the moment of inertia. Okay, whatever the energy stored in the flywheel that can be obtained, that is called as the moment of inertia. Okay, what to do for that? First, slowing down the curve is drawn with armature alone. Okay, for this purpose, so with armature alone, so first method using flywheel with armature alone. Next, flywheel is of known moment of inertia, that is I1 is keyed onto a shaft and slowing down the curve is drawn again. So here with using flywheel, without using flywheel, so initially armature alone you can find out. Okay, and after that you connect a flywheel to the shaft. Okay, keyed onto the shaft means you connect flywheel to the shaft and again slow down the curve, again draw the uh, this particular curve. Okay, so then we will get, obviously slowing down time will be longer due to combined increasing moment of inertia of the two. So what happened, the motor is there, motor is connected to the flywheel, motor shaft is connected to the flywheel. This is the flywheel. Okay, this is the motor, this is the flywheel. Initially you do not connect the flywheel. Okay, switch off the supply and motors will slow down. Okay, you observe this reading. Then second time you connect the flywheel. Okay, so what happened, the motor will take, slowing down time will be longer due to combined increasing moment of inertia. So slowing down time is very much longer. Slowing down time is very much longer in second case. Okay, so we compare these two. So without flywheel and with flywheel, so note down the two readings. Okay, without flywheel the motor will comes randomly, immediately it will comes. Okay, with respect to time it will zero. If you connect the flywheel, whatever the energy stored in the flywheel and energy stored in the armature, so both energies are there, so it will take some more time to reach the 0. Okay, so difference of these two that can be used to find out the moment of inertia. Okay, so for any given speed dn by dt1, so dt1 means initially without flywheel you have taken, so that is dt1, and dt2 is second time. So first time it has taken 5 seconds, second time it has taken 10 seconds to reach the 0 speed. Okay, first 5 seconds means this is called as t1, and 10 seconds this is taken as t2, right, or dt2. Okay, so r to be determined as before. It should be noted that the losses in both the cases would be almost same. Losses is same because additional of flywheel will not make much difference to the losses. Okay, losses does not change, only it will take time is longer, that's all. Okay, in the first case what have we have written, w is equal to 2 pi by 60 square into I into n into dn by dt1. This is the expression. So write the rotational loss expression. So in that begins first time we can take an as dt1. Okay, so for this, so I have modified the equation into dt1. Okay, so second case, adding flywheel to the motor armature. In second case we get, so while, so here what happened, the moment of inertia of the armature and moment of inertia of flywheel both are added. So therefore initially only I is there. When you connect the flywheel, so I plus I1 have to take, and whatever you are determining the time, so that is taken as t2, second case. So in first case without flywheel, in second case with flywheel time. Okay, note down these two expressions. So now therefore uh, and simplify this expression. So take n and I into n into dn by dt, I into n by dn by dt1. So this one first expression, I into n into dn by dt1, this expression is taken, and compare these two expressions, 2 pi square by 60, 2 pi square by 60 both will get cancelled, and remaining term is I plus I1 into n dn by dt2. Okay, write this expression as it is here. Okay, and w is also equal to, so this I into n into dn by dt1 is equal to I plus I1 into n into dn by dt2. We are comparing these two equations, right? We are comparing these two equations. Are you following? Are you following, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are comparing these two equations. Both are W. First case and second case. First case only I into n dn by dt1. Second case I plus I1 into n dn by dt2. So only change is I1 and dt2, I into dt, I and dt1. Okay, and remaining terms will get cancelled here. 2 pi square by 60, 2 pi square by 60 cancels. So I into n into dn by dt1 is equal to I plus I1 into n into dn by dt2. So now I plus I1 by I. So cross multiply this. So this will give dn by dt1 divided by dn by dt2, right? And take I outside, cross multiply this again. I plus I1 plus I into dn by dt2 divided by dn by dt1. Okay, so therefore I is equal to I1 into dn by dt2 divided by dn by dt1 minus dn by dt2. simplify this, you will get this term. So finally, I is equal to I1 into, so we'll compare, so only dt1 and dt2 and dt1 is there. So dt1 divided by dt2 minus dt1, and simply I will write it as I is equal to I1 into t1 by t2 minus t1. Okay, this is the expression to find out the moment of inertia in the first method. So in first method we are using flywheel method. In second method it doesn't use any flywheel here. Flywheel is not connected here. Okay. In this method, initially what we are doing first time we'll take slow down. Say 5% is the noted with the armature alone. Okay. Next, the retarding torque or a mechanical or electrical load that is applied here in the circuit what you have seen. So this is the second method of finding the moment of inertia. Okay, so switch off the motor and it is connected to the load side. Okay, and note down the readings. Okay, so this is the another method. You are connecting either mechanical load or you can connect a electrical load means that is the resistance. Okay, that is connected here. This is the second method of finding moment of inertia. It is applied to the armature and again time is noted. So initially without load you note down, so that is called as T1, and with load you note down, that is called as time T2. Okay, so in both the case speed will be decreasing. Okay, and voltage is noted down. So in this method, using of electrical torque is shown. The switch S, while cutting off the armature from the supply, automatically joins it as a non-inductive resistance R. That is only resistance is there without inductance. So that is connected. That is shown. The power drawn by the resistance acts as a retarding torque on the armature. So this is called as retarding torque. So thereby making it slow down comparatively quickly, and additional loss that is called as I square Ra plus R. Ra is the armature resistance and R is the resistance we have inserted in the load. Okay, so that is called as I square into Ra plus R, or V into Ia. V into Ia, it is also gives the power. So T1 is the time when armature is considered alone. So I have to explain, T1 is the time when armature is considered alone. So switch off the motor and armature will come down. So second case, so you switch off the motor and connect it to the load resistance. Okay, time that is called as T2, time when armature is connected across the load, that is called as T2. So V is the average voltage across R, and Ia is the average current through the R, and W dash that is called as additional retarding electrical torque, because you inserted the resistance, additional retarding electrical torque that is supplied to the motor. So now write the expression for this. So general expression is what? W is equal to 2 pi by 60 whole square into In into dn by dt1. The first expression we have while writing, right? Similarly, second expression here, additional retarding torque is added here. In previous case, additional moment of inertia is added here, I plus I1, but in this case while you are using the R, the additional retarding torque is there, so hence we have written additional losses, that is W plus W dash. Okay, that is added here. So this is equal to 2 pi by 60 square I into n dn by dt 2 seconds, second time. Additional resistance is added, hence taken as T2. Here without resistance, that is called as T1. So if dn is the same in two cases, so dn is same in both the cases, speed is same, but only time will be changing. So now W plus W dash is equal to divided by W. Okay, So write this expression like this: w plus w dash by w. So what is this? So you simplify this, you will get 1 over dt2 divided by 1 over dt1. Okay, is equal to, so dt1 by dt2, this is also equal to t1 by t2. So therefore we'll write w plus w dash into tt2, cross multiply this, is equal to w into t1. Okay, so therefore w take common. Okay, and t1 minus t2, so t1 minus t2 into w is equal to w dash into t2, w dash into t2. Okay, so therefore take w outside, this is equal to w dash into t2 by t1 minus t2. Okay, so where dn by dt1 is the rate of change of speed without extra load, and dn by dt2 is the rate of change of speed with extra electrical load, which provides the retarding torque. Okay, this is the way of finding rotational losses in case of retardation test. So in that retardation test, what we have done, we are finding the kinetic energy. So then rotational losses, that is equal to rate of change of kinetic energy. We will get one expression. In that expression, moment of inertia and the change in speed is unknown quantity. So hence we need to find out change in speed dn by dt by using this curve. And second is to find out the moment of inertia. For finding the moment of inertia, two methods are there. First method is by using the flywheel method, and second method is by inserting the resistance to the load, that is for the armature circuit in the second case. So additional retarding torque is obtained. So from that we will find out the moment of inertia. So this is called as the retardation test. Okay, and related to this problem will done in the next class. So we'll get more idea about the retardation test. Is it clear for you people what is retardation test?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt regarding this? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Shantamma,
Yes, sir.
any doubts?
ಸರ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಸರ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
Okay, I will also send the recorded video. Go through that. Okay.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
I will stop the today's class now and will take the attendance. Thank you.